What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Paper Planes channel. This is my Dark Souls 2 Ultimate Walkthrough. We're here at the Undead Crypt, and last episode I made sure to loot this item before we signed out. And in between then and now, I had to cash in a soul in my inventory so I could repair my catalyst. So if you're wondering what the soul discrepancy is from, that's what it all's about. What it be about what it is. However, I feel like saying that is basically how it's going to work today. Alright, so this guy right here, you can see he's really not interested in fighting. He just walks around with his torch. So you don't need to kill him. He's kind of friendly. But we do have these guys here, and this guy here. Once you kill them, get behind these pillars, and then we're going to have to deal with these casters. Now, they're not very dangerous. The damage that they deal is physical, and it's a pushback more than anything, so it's a slight nuisance. So you can deal ranged attacks from here behind the pillar, or you can rush in. So you just want to basically find yourself barriers to defend. So I like to get these guys out of the way. But if you're rolling around, there's really not much they can do to you. You can see how easy it is to avoid these. So you see the damage is very minimal. Once you kill one, you can get behind the pillar and just time it out. They're not good at taking damage. Their physical damage with their... Oh shit. Whoops. Now you can see a reason to stay the hell away from them. So if you do get poisoned and you don't have anything to deal with that poison right away, what I like to do is use a life gem to mitigate the damage while it's happening. So that's a good little hack there that you can take advantage of. Obviously these things, they kind of become stupid once you get out of their line of sight. They still know you're there because they haven't seen you leave the area, but they stop pursuing you and they don't actually change their angle of attack. So if you want to go about it the safe and easy way, you can just deal with them from a range and use the pillar to hide yourself. I don't necessarily like to do that because it's tedious and it wastes a lot of your spells. So I like to get in close and personal in that kind of situation. Now in here we're going to have a confrontation. And basically there's a dude up there in the corner speaking to you. And he's basically telling us that we better not use any torches or any other means to generate light, or else these guys are going to come down and put a beating on us. And they're pretty tough, so you don't want to do that. Also, this guy is an ally for you in a boss fight to come, so you don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. What you can do, though, is come up here and don't attack these guys. They're going to be neutral to you while you're obeying the law. Obeying the law, and these dudes won't put the reckoning on that ass. So you can talk to this guy right here and exhaust all of his conversation options. Then you'll get to learn a gesture. I always slip up on this word, gesture. It just sounds so weird to me. Anyways, after you do that, you'll be able to treat him like a merchant, and he's got some stuff that we want to buy. So we'll go ahead and go through this process. Okay, so once you're done talking to him, you do the gesture, have mercy. And then you can see he's got some cool inventory here. The Shield of the Insolent is a nice shield because it's got a stamina recovery effect to it, and it's pretty cheap, so we can go ahead and buy that. Sure, why not? Probably won't use it in this playthrough, but it's always good to have items, especially ones with unique properties to them. I pretty much am of the playing style where I like to have one of everything if I can. And then as far as spells go, I like to have multiple, as many as I can of each type of spell. That way if I fall in love with one, I can have, you know, like 100 casts of that favorite spell if it allows me to. So we're going to use some souls and buy all this gear. So after we exit this queue here, go into your inventory, and you should have plenty of souls to utilize right now. As you can see here, we've got a ton of stuff. So I'm just going to use these biggest souls first. And that's probably going to give me just enough to purchase everything that I want. So we'll talk to him and go over to the scroll inventory section. Actually, it's not. It's a little bit more. So we know that we need 5,000 souls now. So that'll be pretty easy to figure out. We definitely know we have that. So I'm going to say it's probably one of these. Boom. Soul of a Brave Warrior generates 5,000 souls for us. So now we get to get this last little spell here. It's a Warmth Pyromancy. Cool. Alright, so after that you can exit this guy's area with all your new gear. And there's going to be 2 enemies up here to our right, so you got to be careful about that. You want to kind of fight them solo. So get this guy to come at you. Now I know he's close to a ledge, so you might not want to deal with him too much, but you can let him go back up and then switch to your catalyst. And once he's basically disengaged with you, he's going to put his guard down. Well, he wants to come back for some mo. He really didn't want to allow me to beat him like that. Alright. So, if he's giving you problems, if he doesn't want to give you his back, or you're too afraid to fight him on the stairs and worried about being knocked down, you can wait till he disengages back up top. He'll show some disinterest in you, and then you can land some spells on him. Probably take him to about 50% health, and then rinse and repeat. So, then when you get this guy all to yourself, you can come up here and deal a backstab to him once he lets you. No, he might fall off. That's a guy I want defending my castle. Hell yeah. Alright, so it's also kind of annoying how he hit me when he wasn't even facing me like that, and he threw a forward jab, so that was interesting. Alright, so you want to have full health, and when you get to this edge here by the ladder, just drop down. And you're going to have an enemy or 2 right here, so be cautious of that. Pick up the items. These are just 2 random drops from those enemies. And this is the item we came down here to get. Soul of a Great Hero and the Simpleton Spice. So now that we're there, we get to climb up the ladder. And we're going to go a little bit higher than where we just were. And there's going to be another enemy waiting for us. And they're guarding a chest. Now the weird thing is, some of these enemies, you're not going to deal as much damage to them every time. Sometimes you'll deal a little bit more, so they might take 1 swing more often than not, but be ready for needing to deal 2 swings and damage to them. Crushed Eye Orb and the Fire Seed. We've been picking up lots and lots of Fire Seeds lately. Now also, you might see me using Life Gems more frequently than I used to, and that's just because you get to a point where you're just never going to use these things, so you might as well take advantage of that and keep your character at full health when using an Estus Flask would be a little bit of overkill. So after you loot that, drop down, and we're going to walk towards the Fog Gate. Now this is a perfect opportunity to explain how dark it is in this area, but don't worry about using torches, because when you get close enough to the area you need to be, it will always illuminate itself, so you're not in total darkness, even though your line of sight necessarily, or your field of view is kind of skewed because of that. Now, basically in these kind of areas we have gravestones, and then which are just kind of like these standard rocks, and then there are these special stones next to them, and those generate more powerful enemies. So we want to kill the ornate stones first and foremost, and there's going to be one to our immediate right, and you'll see it'll generate an enemy. So by killing the stone, it'll prevent more of those same enemies from spawning out of that location. After you kill that one, you're going to loot this Titanite chunk and petrified dragon bone. Then we're going to climb up this ladder and deal with this enemy here. Instead of knocking them off the ledge, which is typically what will happen with our melee attacks, let's go ahead and use some sorcery. And you can see, as long as we're landing our spells, which we should if we get the jump, because they're not very mobile, they won't be able to land an attack on us. Now I've got some increased casting speed equipment on, so if you can't cast as fast as I am, that's something to take note of. That's why I wear these rags. So here we get some more nice loot. There's lots of good loot. And you can see kind of what's waiting for you down below, and this is actually the next room. So don't drop down there, we've got some other stuff to deal with. I never like to drop into a room unless I know what the hell's going on before. So you can see we've got another one of these ornate stones here. And you can actually deal some damage to these guys before you even get done defeating the stone. Now these weaker enemies will continuously spawn. So you can sit around and kill those little undead creatures, but the more you stay in this gravestone area, the longer they're going to linger and respawn. So I just I just activate that bonfire. I don't want to rest at it because I don't want to have to kill those stones again. So once you do that, we're gonna go around the corner here, and there's this doorway that we need to enter, and we're in that same room that we just looked down on. And we want to deal with the main enemy first. Then we'll kill these little scrubs. There's going to be another ornate stone across the room. So just basically run over here and do your damage to that. If you're wondering where those fire spells come from, it's these casters. Yeah, they do a lot of quick and efficient melee damage, but if you stay too far away from them, they're going to cast those fire spells as well. So after you get this gear here, continue to kill the baddies, pick up your gear, and we're going to move up the stairway. Now we're going to get invaded quickly by an enemy, so what you want to do is keep your eye on this doorway here. You want to kill this undead that's climbing up towards you. That way you only fight this guy solo. And you don't want to get too close to the walls to your right, because there are some warriors that hang out inside the wall that can deal some pretty good damage to you. They have some wide sweeping attacks. So if you want to fight this guy melee, if you land a hit on him, he's going to stagger. Same thing with sorcery. Once you land a hit, you're pretty much good to go. So you just want to let your stamina build up. No, get away. And then wait for your opportunity. And easy does it. Alright, so I'll show you about these wall warriors here. You can see there's kind of a little bait item here. So if we're a little bit closer to the wall when we loot that, he might come out. There he is. They take about 2 hits with our weapon the way it's spec'd now, and then there's going to be another one there. There we go. I believe there's only 2 on this area. Then we can open up the wall here in the center of the room. That's the doorway where we came in. Now there's going to be 2 more of those things. There's going to be one directly in front of us, or to the side, sorry. My mistake. And then there's going to be one to the left of the chest. Good thing this chest is iron, because I have a feeling quite a few of you would destroy this wood if this chest if it was wood trying to kill that enemy. Alright, so we get the Avalon and the heavy bolt. Once we loot those items, we're going to continue on down this corridor here. And there's going to be two guys with massive shields down at the end there, and they don't really attack you until you get right up on them, so you don't have to worry about sweating if you're getting too close or not. You really have to be right up on them for them to engage. So what we're going to do is deal with these wall warriors first. There's going to be 3 of them. There should be 2 on the left. One's down really close to them. There he is. And then there's another one over here. I don't believe there's another one on this side. I'm just going to make sure just for... Okay. Now, you don't even really need to kill these guys. In fact, I think it's probably a bad idea to do it. Just run up on them. They'll engage eventually. Hey, buddy. There we go. So what I like to do is I like to let them chase me. It's best if they stick together. It's not always the easiest thing to keep them together, but sometimes they move a little bit faster. And just let them follow you out here. See if I can get this guy to break his pattern. There we go. And then just run by him. It's really easy. Super easy. Because otherwise they're pretty powerful. And if you mess around with them, yeah, you should be able to kill them, but you might not. And it's not worth the risk. So we drop down in this area, and you'll see right away there are some of these stones again. I want to make sure that we do the best we can to take care of this. And you'll see that dead guy running to this bell. You want to keep them from hitting those bells as best you can. You can actually sound that bell with your sword as well, so you got to be cautious about that. Alright, so another zombie headed towards that bell. We're probably going to hit it there. And that's okay because we've already damaged most of the ornate stones. But what happens is when you hit that bell, these little guys spawn from any ornate stone that's still standing. So as long as you've gotten to all the ornate stones, the bell isn't as big of a deal. Alright, so you'll see here that because he rang it again, the last spawn location is down there. And it'd be nice if I didn't get killed by this thing. Alright, so after I kill him, I'm going to decide to push down here and deal with this guy. Alright, sweet. So that should be the last of those casters that we're going to have to deal with. Now we can go take care of this guy ringing the bell, if it's actually a pain in your ass or anything. There's going to be lots of gear to loot. This isn't necessarily a good area to farm because there's really just low soul dropping enemies. You can farm items, but I mean, your time is better spent doing other things, like making YouTube tutorials and pretending that you have a subscriber count that's relevant. So making sure that we got every corridor here. Oh no. Alright, there's the last guy ringing the bell. He's annoying as shit. Okay, so when we leave this room, we're gonna go down the path where you see that track on it. But first, what we want to do is interact with the wall over here. Where are you at? Where are you at? I thought it was this wall. Is it not? Maybe. Let's find it. It's probably on this side. There it is. Alright, so in between the door with the track and close to the bell. So you get this Pharaoh's Lockstone. This is actually going to create an illuminated wall over here. Run over here and hack at it. And we're going to get some gear. So we get a nice staff that's going to require quite a bit of intelligence to wield. Alright, so you can see our sword is really close to becoming broken, so we're going to get out of this area, trying to avoid any more combat. And once you get out to this area, we're going to turn the corner and flip the switch here. And this is going to give us a shortcut back to the second bonfire that we visit. And this is a perfect opportunity to repair our weapon before it becomes totally useless. So, oops, I made the wrong turn. Once you come in that doorway, you're going to go to the left. Damn it. And there's our bonfire. So now we're good. Our sword is back to full health. Of course, it's not a big deal to rest at that bonfire because we've got the shortcut now, so we don't have to backtrack and fight any enemies that we did previously. Once you exit this doorway, though, you're just going to walk off the ledge. Nice and slow like. Boom. And you're going to land right next to this little statue here. So what this thing does is you're going to actually use your torch. So what I like to do is go ahead and equip some of these flame butterflies. And now that we have that, we'll go ahead and spark our torch. And then you'll see we can set light. And you're going to get to see what's going on with that. You see off in the distance that all of these big giant statues now light the area. So yeah, it gives you some more visibility, and it might do something else. Who knows? So when we come up here, there's a chest to our left. Don't worry, it's wooden, but it's not a mimic or a trap. So you get a soul vessel, and those are very useful. We'll climb up the ladder. Pick up this item here. Reminds me to get off of my flame butterfly. And now we're back in the same room where we just left the bonfire. So we can go ahead and rest here just to get our usages on the Estus flask back up to perfect. Alright. So once we exit this area, we're back at the shortcut switch. We're going to run down the stairs, skip over this corridor just now, and grab this chest. Once again, it's not a trap or a mimic. Lots and lots of loot in this area, so it's pretty sweet. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and get your catalyst on, and you're going to come down these stairs here and go to the back and target this guy immediately and kill them. You don't want to run in there and kill him with melee, because if you do, you're going to have to deal with the result of having the bell chime, most likely. And if the bell chimes, then you've got to deal with 4 of those fire casters, and that just makes this whole area that much more of a nuisance. It's already kind of a pain in the ass because you have to fight these dudes over here, and we know how annoying that can be. So basically, walking up slow to them is the best way. Casting can also get you a head start on the damage meter, so I like to do that if you can get within range. So go ahead and land a casting shot. See, after that, you're pretty much just straight up melee damage, but you're always going to draw 2 or 1, so you want to move slowly forward or target one specifically. Don't start firing at multiple ones to draw out a big horde of them. So you just want to kind of try to get an angle to where you can land a backstab. I know it's difficult when you're fighting 2 at the same time, but when they kind of separate like that and go a little bit slow, that's your chance. They don't really do that attack that often, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And while you're in that animation, you're pretty much safe. Anytime you take an extra risk there, you can see they're going to make you pay. But when you get one low to his health, it might be worth the risk just to separate the two. As big as these dudes are, they're super fast. They've got really good rotation, so it's not that easy to get the angle on them that you're hoping for. And it's not very entertaining to watch either. A lot of spinny spin. So let's see if we can get some damage on this guy. And it's funny though, even if you hit him right in the shield, unless they're holding the shield up in guard formation, it doesn't do a damn thing for them. Alright, so you can see there's a group of 4 left, and these 2 come out by themselves, and the last 2 actually sit by the door and are really hard to get away from that. So go ahead and deal with these guys as best we can. I actually like fighting the ones with the long staff type weapon the most. I hate how they circle into each other sometimes. Try to pick off one that's on the backside, but he definitely likes to protect. It seems like the guys with the swords are way more focused on defense than the other ones are, and that's why I like to fight the lengthy spearmen. Alright, now this should be simple enough. Come on, buddy. That's annoying. Grab that loot. Alright, now these last 2 guys will be easy enough. They don't come very far off the door though, so once again we're going to try to get the advantage here with some casting. You don't want to waste too much of your sorcery right here because you want to use that for the boss if you can. So we'll just try to get in close, make these guys make some mistakes. If this guy follows you down to the base of the stairs, you're good. I hate the swing because you're usually going to miss after you land a crit. You have to get it really lined up correctly. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Swing, 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 swing. Now it's just you and me, bitch. You can see there I moved to the side instead of trying to attack him from behind because the swing will just barely miss them, but it misses them enough to where it's not going to do any damage. So here we get to summon the Grave Warden Agdane, and this is the guy that we spoke to earlier. I kind of look at him like a vampire, essentially. If you listen to what his backstory is when he's talking to you, it's essentially saying that in their own way. Maybe not exactly vampires, but they're pretty damn similar. And I think his sword is absolutely freaking hilarious. I mean, look at this thing. It's like cartoonishly huge. He'd never be running around with that in one hand. It just looks freaking hilarious. So we're about to fight a boss. It's not the boss, but it is the boss for this episode, essentially. And we want our heavier casting sorceries on. And this boss can actually be parried. He can be blocked, but you can block most of his attacks. Typically, if you can parry somebody, you can block their attacks as well. And he's pretty much easy to evade, so You don't have really like a big playing field to fight him, but you've got enough space to maneuver, and having this NPC with you just makes this fight a breeze. Now, saying that, I'll probably die, because that's typically how it goes whenever I say something's easy. I make a fool of myself. So if you're fighting melee, you want to get behind this enemy, and basically if you have to dodge their attacks, then you want to dodge towards them. So I like to let the NPC get the first hit. Anytime I'm fighting an enemy with an NPC, I like to let them get the very first attack. That way the aggro goes all the way towards them at first. Now these pillars here, they're not going to do really much of any kind of protection for you. His hammer is so huge that he just swings right through that stuff. Now when he's casting this, it's a great opportunity to get in some shots, and what it does is it actually increases his resistance. You can see I'm not doing hardly half the damage that I was before. He's gonna make easy work of the Grave Warden. Sometimes you will have enough time to kill him just based off of your sorceries and the Grave Warden's distraction, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get that opportunity. So basically, once we get back to our spells there, ooh. Now he's gonna cast that if you're far at range. You can see how much damage that shit does. It's brutal. Oh shit. This is what it comes down to. Just like that. So if you don't have a good shield on, you pretty much get smoked on that kind of attack. You can see we get tons of souls, but look at my guy. He's like, oh, fuck. That was a monster-ass swing, but I just barely survived it. So yeah, with the distraction, the boss is super easy. If I wasn't so stubborn and showing you just strictly sorceries, I could have switched to my melee. He's actually a little bit easier to fight in melee form after he switches to his second phase when he's doing that kind of casting, because that stuff is such a huge hit point drain that you really want to dodge it, and he punishes you for staying too far at range. Now, I know that you see this guy down here, and this is the king, but he will not attack you unless you deal a really, really significant amount of damage to him. So you can pick up the king's ring without any repercussions, and I would tell you if I thought that you could kill him to go ahead and go for it, but if you're watching this guide, you probably can't kill him. And I could sit here and fight this guy for probably 4 minutes before I'd even get him to attack me, because we're just not spec'd to deal enough damage yet to really bother him. Hey buddy, what's going on? Nice sword that you just drug right through my body. So yeah, don't fight him yet. We'll get to that. There's plenty of time to fight the king. But once you grab his ring, which is actually going to enable you to unlock doors that we couldn't open before, we'll go ahead and talk to our Emerald Herald, which is mysteriously waiting for us, as she is often in key locations.
This ring is the symbol of the king. Use it to gain passage through the king's gate and venture to the far east, bearer of the curse. If you are to be the next monarch, then one day you will walk those grounds without really knowing why.
Okay, so after that, what she normally does is she goes back to her silent self, and she will return to the Firelink Shrine, or Majula, sorry. That's some old Dark Souls still in my blood. But after this point, we're basically going to use our Homeward Bone to return to the previous bonfire. And then we'll go back to Majula, aka Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1. I mean, it's the same thing, right? They should have just kept it the same name, because I'll probably mess up doing that over and over again as long as I play this game. So yeah, we return to Majula, and of course, doing so, we're basically coming back to spend this big bounty of souls that we have. And we see our Emerald Herald here.
Bearer until
We get to listen to her slightly modified new beginning intro. So basically at different courses after certain interactions, she says pretty much the same thing, but slightly different iterations. So you can see there that there's a slight change in how she greeted you that time. So once we get back, we're going to increase faith,